Deep within the cold chill of a moonlit night, there stood a lone knight perched atop great ramparts. A fierce wind howled from the horizon. The knight's heart beat fast with fear of the dark that whispered beyond the wall. The dark crept, like a creeping shadow full of soft hisses and secret groans. The knight built higher stones, thicker bricks, shutting out the cold. Yet inside the wall, silence echoed. Empty, distant. The knight wondered, was building more walls the only way? And what might be hidden in the quiet just beyond hearing? In a wide land where twilight melted into stars, there arose a great wall. A knight stood at its base, setting stone upon stone. The wall stretched tall and broad, a fortress against the dark. The setting smelled of damp stone and fresh mortar, the air sharp with the smell of rock and earth. The stone felt cold and rough under gloved hands. At dusk, when shadows grew long, the knight felt a soft shiver, something beyond the wall calling. The knight believed strongly that safety lay in isolation, keeping all darkness out, keeping light safely inside. But inside, the hush was heavy. The knight could no longer hear birds' songs, could no longer hear laughter, could no longer hear the whisper of wind across leaves. The knight was quiet behind the wall, but quiet in a way that hurt, like missing something precious. One twilight, a small sound, barely a rustle, slipped through a crack in the wall. The knight paused. The sound was curious, strange, and gentle. The knight realized that something lay beyond the dark, a secret door perhaps that could only open if the knight learned to listen. And so the educational quest was set, to understand openness versus isolation, to learn how stillness and listening lead to safety, to connection, and even to discovery of the secret door. The knight vowed walls would remain, but there must be a way to be open, listen, and find that door. Night fell. Across the wall, the wind whispered among unseen trees. The knight built higher, trying to shut it out. The wind carried soft tones like distant singing. The knight ignored them, pounding stones, sealing gaps. But then a tiny crack rattled. From the crack came a soft voice of wind, rustling leaves, a distant owl's hoot. The knight paused, hands frozen on hammer. The knight remembered, to listen one must be still. So the knight stood very still, breathing slowly, ears open. The wind's whispers carried words: friend, help, hope. The knight heard hope. The knight heard help. The knight felt warmth in that hearing. The knight realized that isolation had blocked hearing those words. The knight counted to 3, 1, 2, 3, counting the beats of wind, the beats of ears. The knight breathed again, even more still, listening past the wind into what it might be saying. Can you be still like the night? Can you listen for the softest sounds in the dark? Some nights later, a faint cry came from behind the stones, farther than any crack, deeper than any echo. The knight tried to ignore it, thinking nothing mattered beyond the wall. But the cry was persistent, soft sobs, a trembling note like a child of wind. The knight's shield felt heavy. The stones felt colder. The knight crawled close to the wall, pressed ear against cold stone. The sobs were muffled. The knight placed hand against wall, felt vibration, thump, thump, sob, sob. The knight remembered the first lesson. Stillness brings listening. So the knight dropped tools, removed helmet, settled all muscles soft and quiet. The sound sharpened, help, echoing, not angry, not scary, just sad and gentle. The knight counted the sobs, 1, 2, 3, then listened for what came between them. The crackling breath, the gentle sniffling, the longing to be heard. The knight understood that isolation meant denying those cries, letting them fade. Openness meant stillness, listening, caring. The knight placed ear to heart, feeling sorrow, wishing to respond. When you hear someone crying quietly, can you stop and listen too? Can you feel what they feel? Later, at the deepest hour of the night, the darkness beyond the wall seemed to gather in a great stillness. No wind, no cry, no whisper, an almost perfect silence. The knight leaned against the wall, every sense alert. In that silence, a tiny echo stirred. A soft metallic creak, as if a hidden hinge began to move. The stone at the base of the wall vibrated with a faint hum, like a forgotten melody. The smell of damp stone mixed with something sweet, Flowers, perhaps, that the wall had kept out. The knight crouched low, hand on stone where the hum resonated, listening. The echo repeated, creak, pause, creak, pause. The knight counted the creaks, 1, 2, 3. Then a fourth, then fifth. Counting with the ears, using stillness, opening the heart. The shoulder muscles relaxed, breath quiet. The knight listened for the pattern, waited for the secret door to be revealed. All the while, the wall was acting both as barrier and guide. The bigger challenge was just ahead, letting part of the wall become a threshold rather than total blockage. In the silver hush before dawn, a single stone at the base of the wall shifted. The secret door swung outward gently, making one soft creak. Light filtered in, warm golden, humming with shape and colour. The grass beyond, dew-wet, glowed. Flowers swayed, birds chirped their early songs. The smells of fresh earth, sweet blossoms, morning mist filled the air. The knight stepped through the door, no longer cloaked in isolation, no longer deaf to the world beyond. The knight had built walls for safety, yes, but openness had been the key to discovering the door. Through stillness and listening, the knight had learned that walls need not be prisons. The secret door was not visible by force, not opened by more walls, only by being still, open, and listening. Beyond the wall, kindness dwelt, creatures of wind, whispers, soft laughter. The knight joined them, not by tearing down walls, but by opening the heart and ears. The world's dark was not to be defeated by force alone. Light crept in where ears were open, where empathy lived. As the sun rose, the wall still stood, but now with a door. A threshold between inside and out, between safety and connection. The knight smiled, feeling courage in openness, warmth in connection. The hush inside the wall was gone, replaced by song, by laughter, by sounds of life. So the knight found that building walls to keep darkness away can feel safe. But staying isolated tells the listener nothing of what lies beyond. Openness, being still, listening. These are the secret tools. Can you imagine standing very still and listening for your own secret door? What soft sounds might you hear if you listen right now? Birds, wind, laughter, whispers. And what shall we learn about in our next adventure? Will we learn about shapes? Or maybe our emotions? Join us next time to find out. Moral core: the only way across a wall is to be still and listen for the secret door.